I also forgot to stand up straight. My grandma's rolling in her grave right now. Hi everybody, I'm Olivia, here with Cocina de Todos. We are focusing on holiday recipes, so I wanted to do something really simple and quick in case you have a holiday party to go to. There's always some event that you haven't really planned for that you are supposed to bring something to. Everybody loves chocolate, so we're gonna do an unmolded, or a molded, uncrusted chocolate cake. It's just gonna have chocolate, some sugar, a little bit of heavy cream, 1 egg, and some table salt. So I have everything already weighed out for the most part. I always use weight primarily because I'm lazy and I don't want to use a bunch of spoons and measuring cups, so you get less cleanup that way, but also because it's more precise. So the ratio we're doing of chocolate to cream is gonna be a 3-to-2 chocolate to cream. So we have our 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. We're just gonna put that in the blender to sit. Then we will take our cream, we're just gonna warm it up. You want it to come to a simmer, but you don't want it to boil. You'll lose some of the sweetness in the cream and you'll get that skin on the top that's gross. So we're just gonna let that simmer. We are using an egg, so 7 ounces of heavy cream, 1 egg. An egg white is gonna add liquid, so that's accounting for our basically 1 ounce more liquid. If you are scared of using a barely heated egg in a recipe, since it's not gonna be cooked, you don't have to use it. It's gonna add a little bit of lightness to the recipe. It's going to make it a little bit creamier, but not quite as rich. This is gonna be a very rich recipe already. It'll also help it get fluffy. So we're just waiting for our cream to come up to heat, and then we will blend everything and mold it. So what we're doing that for right now is just household bowl. So you can use anything. You can use a cake plate, anything you need. You're just gonna cover it in plastic. Beautiful rip. So we'll just set this aside, just waiting for the cream to come up to heat. A couple things to note, this has very few ingredients, so it will taste as good as the chocolate you put into it. If you use really fancy chocolate, it's gonna taste really fancy and be really expensive. If you use grocery store chocolate, it's gonna taste like grocery store chocolate and still be delicious. One of the things I think always helps with the sophistication of the flavor of a recipe is using salt. My biggest pet peeve in pastry is when people put no salt in their recipe. It makes everything better all the time. I'm sorry to do this because it's very frustrating, but I'm going to use a pinch of salt. So I'm using 1 big pinch. It's gonna look like that. It's probably about 2 grams if you're using kosher salt. If you're using table salt, it will be less by volume. So 2 grams is a pretty good amount if you have a scale that can do that weight. And I'm just gonna put that over the chocolate. My way of testing if my cream is ready is putting my finger in it. But if that scares you, you can wait until you see bubbles. So now you can start to see the steam coming off of it. That means it's almost ready. Because we're using such a high percentage of chocolate to cream, I wanna make sure that it is good and hot or we will end up with chunks of chocolate. Not the end of the world, but it might make you look dumb when you're trying to cut it. One thing is, you'll mess up your temperature if your products are cold. So if you're pouring your cream over really cold chocolate or with a cold egg, then you won't be able to incorporate as much air because it'll start to set. So you want everything as room temperature as possible. I know it's winter and it's cold and heat is expensive. So if you're wondering about the swirling, I just don't want it to form the skin on the top. And then I'm stopping every once in a while to see if it's gonna start bubbling. All right, we're gonna call that good. So cream is hot, it's going into blender, just poured right over the chocolate. Try to get it even. Then I'm just gonna crack our egg over it. And then we blend. probably a minute, 90 seconds. I like to go until it's a little bit warmer than body temperature, so slightly warm to touch. That way it's not really setting yet, but you're able to incorporate air into it because the texture is thick enough. So now all we do is pour it into our prepared bowl. So we're just taking all the chocolate, putting it into the plastic wrapped bowl or cake pan or whatever. You can see some of the bubbles in here. Nice and fluffy. Again, the more powerful your blender is, the more fluffy your end product will be. Taste your chocolate before you use it, and based on that, just decide if you like the sweetness. So you can't make it less sweet, but if you need a little sugar or something, if you're somebody who likes things sweeter, you can do that. Another way to adjust for the sweetness is if it is too sweet, you can add a little bit of espresso powder, bring some of that bitterness to it. This is also a recipe that easily can take a small amount of a liqueur if you want a boozy chocolate. So simple, just spreading it down. It's gonna get inverted, so it'll be the shape of the bowl. The plastic wrap just makes it so it's not sticking. So then I'm gonna fold the plastic over. You can also just put a new piece of plastic. It's just so that it doesn't get what we call a skin when you have it in the fridge. So that's it. Not super sexy, but ready to go. If you pull the plastic hard, you will get that shape, so beware of that. So now this is gonna go in the fridge. You do want it for like 2-3 hours in the fridge to really set up well enough, depending on how big it is. If you make a really small one, then it won't need as much time. So we made one last night so that you don't have to wait. So I'll get it out of the fridge right now. So this is our chilled one. Most of the height is gonna come from the whipped cream, so not super big. It is extremely rich, so it doesn't need to be. Just a little bit of a cute dome shape that will reinforce with our whipped cream. And it's okay that it's not perfect. You'll see, like, I just ripped off an edge. Doesn't matter, that's what whipped cream's for. Now we're gonna decorate with whipped cream. I'm going to make mine by hand. I think you get the most control over the texture that way. You never end up over whipping it and forgetting about it and ending up with butter in a great tragedy. So I have a mixing bowl and a whisk in the fridge that I'll get out along with my heavy cream that's been chilling. We're gonna whip by hand. Takes 5 minutes and you have to be pretty vigorous. So if you have a stand mixer or a little handheld mixer, much easier that way. So I just have the rest of the pint. So we're using a full pint between the chocolate and the whipped cream. That way it's easy, just a 1 pint recipe. So just pouring it into my chilled bowl. I like things pretty bittersweet, so I already have semi-sweet chocolate here. I don't want to add a lot of sweetness, but sometimes a completely unsweetened whipped cream can be a little weird. So I'm gonna add just a little spoonful of sugar. That's probably 10 grams or so. But again, if you like sweet recipes, just put more sugar. This bowl is a little big for this, but we'll survive. You don't have to whip perfectly. You can do this. It'll still work. Kind of anything you do that's creating motion. Normally I like a pretty softly whipped cream, but because we want it to hold its shape on the cake, we are gonna take it a little bit further. Just again, be careful. So there it is, pretty stiff. So very easy, no special equipment. We're just gonna mound it on. We'll start there. You're just gonna spread it around. You can use a knife, a butter knife, an offset spatula, which is what this little guy is. At this point, if you want a different flavoring in there, you could swirl in a jam of some sort. Just put little dots of it, swirl it around like you're already doing. You can get some pretty color that way. Because it's holidays, we're gonna do a little bit of nutmeg on it and some cocoa nib. Bring some of those kind of wintry flavors in. Slightly damp paper towel. Just gonna go around the edge, clean it up. So we're gonna get our fresh nutmeg. It does make a big difference if it's fresh, so do that. Just have a little microplane here. Then we're just gonna do some cocoa nib. There she is. Cute little simple, probably 10-minute start to finish. Adorable, simple. So we have cleaned up our countertop. We have not actually washed the dishes, but we have hidden them from you in the oven. And we are now going to give this a little cut. So the most important thing about cutting any dessert is to get your knife hot and have something to clean it off with, especially when it's something like this with whipped cream. So we have a kettle going. It's easiest if you have a container to dip it in. I'm just gonna pour it over since we're just cutting one slice. Whee! So, hot knife. Clean off between each slice. I'll try not to. Okay, this is just a little baby slice because it is very rich. Let's see if I can actually get that off my knife. There we go.
Ooh.
Thank you, guys.
I want everyone to respond that way to everything all the time.
All right, let's try. You can see the texture's really silky. It's also okay if it tempers a little bit. It'll be a tiny bit harder to cut, but it'll be nice. Katrina's telling me to smile. Okay, this is actually my second bite, but we're gonna taste it. It's perfect. It's so creamy, so chocolatey, just the right amount of sweet. I hope you make it. I hope you bring it to a party. Bring it to your friends, tell me how it went, and happy holidays.
I like